What's happening? Live and direct from Lush World. Got a lot going on right now. So, as you can see, we're restructuring the studio, making it a lot more crazy for the 2025. About to go up. And during this period of adjustment, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's been rocking with the channel. We are also having a music studio out of here, so we're really trying to step it up. Got a sick team in place. A lot of the homies that you see me with for a while still rocking. So excited for these big changes. In the meantime, I still want to at least do some content, give y'all something. So I saw a tweet that went like fake viral, semi-viral, whatever you want to quantify it as, on recently, and it was from DJ VLAD, and it was a poll. Which artist has had the most impact, the biggest impact, the most impact on West Coast rap? That's the way the question is phrased. Now, the four artists that they named all equally deserve to be acknowledged for their many contributions and accolades, but I think it's obvious there's a clear answer to who deserves to be taking away that crown. And prior to me even retweeting it and actually putting my 2 cents in, he was down bad in the poll. Now, he's still losing in the poll, but we were able to at least somewhat shift the consensus on the poll on this tweet, which was, of the four artists mentioned, who's had the biggest impact on West Coast rap? The names were NIPSEY HUSSLE, The Game, YG, and DRAKEO the Ruler. Now, according to the poll results, it's The Game by a significant margin, followed by Nip, and then DRAKEO, and then YG. But it was like DRAKEO was way low and had less than 10%. He was like 7 or 8% before I corrected everybody and let them know it's obvious that the answer is DRAKEO. And I'll tell you why. Although Game is the most famous by a significant margin, has the most accolades and achievements, the most number ones, I mean, it's not even close. His stats is through the roof. However, The Game came in the game and continues to rap with an East Coast style. He might as well have been born in Queens. Now, he reps Compton at the fullest, Bompton to be exact, and does a great job of it. Held it down during a huge period of drought for the West. Is Dre stamped and certified, has done his thing. Many classic albums, even albums that I believe are underrated. He had his crazy mixtape run, all that to say still, he raps with the East Coast style. How can you say that he's the most impactful on the West when really the only thing he did was act as a placeholder during a rough period? On top of that, who exactly did he put on? Nobody that's really notable. He might have influenced some people, but stylistically, it's hard to really trace that footprint back to him. Now, YG, I'll say the same thing. YG, although he is a very West Coast style and is distinct, I think he's had more influence in certain ways in The Game because he made it actually cool in a modern generation when there was still a huge drought. And the only name that was previously mentioned for many, many moons was The Game. And that's, you know, if we're excluding Northern Cali and the Bay Area, because there's been fools like, you know, E40, Too Short, that have held it down for decades and continue to, and then even like newer generation Northern Cali artists like Mozzie, who've had a huge impact in the latter part of the 2010s, as well as in this decade as well. So you got all that going on, but YG, you know, his impact pretty much was like transitioning the jerk era sound and style into gangbanging and making gangbanging sound cool. Had everybody claiming blood, saying dick and back, you know, all that. The whole lingo, he had to capitalize off of it, and he did it in a very, very lucrative way, and he stacked up his currency to the best of his ability, and deserves to be celebrated for his run, despite what anybody might got to say about it. However, although he might have put on more people than The Game, he might have had more influence in certain ways on the actual structure and sound and style of West Coast rap. I still would put him on the lower half of this conversation. Now, to me, it comes down to Nipsey and DRAKEO. And if you look at their accolades, I mean, Nipsey, what he was able to accomplish as far as helping perpetuate the importance of ownership and entrepreneurship, and on a business standpoint and in a social activism standpoint, and really caring and understanding the message and attempting to continue to, you know, push consciousness in the community, unrivaled. the only person that you could even put in the same category as far as major artists that have accomplished nearly as much in the West Coast in a long time, I want to say since Pac, is Kendrick and NIPSEY, And, Kendrick's impact, a lot of his entrepreneurial spirit and a lot of the image, or, the essence of what he carried is a lot of the same philosophies that Nip brought on. So you could thank Kendrick for some of Nip's, you could thank Nip for some of Kendrick's ideology, as well as them sharing amazing records together like Motivation and other big hits as well. Now, let's talk about DRAKO. It's obvious stylistically, there's no rapper in the West Coast who, dress style-wise, lexicon-wise, entire character archetype, changing the entire thing where in a West Coast rap had to be an open gangbanger. No, he's talking about the day-to-day life of other fools that are in the streets. He really popularized flocking and talked about it in a way that was more coded and slicker and sounded cool. He had really intricate wordplay and delivery and punchlines and syllable placement that is pretty much superior to anybody in the West and all genres and pockets of music. And I'm going to be doing more deep analysis into DRAKO's wordplay soon, which is something I've alluded to several times and we're going to be implementing very soon. With that being said, beyond that, the fact that every city creating this new character archetype and that represents a huge contingent of people, whether they're affiliated with gangs or not, in Los Angeles, moving through the streets in Southern California at large. He's a huge influence on communities outside of his own, such as the Latino community, who fully embrace him. He probably got more Mexican fans than he does any other race, if you really look at it honestly. However, on top of that, he's influenced an entire generation and beyond. Since his emergence in 2015 with Mr. Ghetto, and I'll even say that Catchy the Great, RIP as well, has a very understated influence, and some of the bigger artists on the West Coast who are popular today were also heavily influenced by Catchy. But that's another conversation for another time. So with that being said, DRAKO's influence is unparalleled, unrivaled, and unmatched. There's really nobody that can even say that they come close. So he needs to be given his props in this regard, and also put on and ushered in a huge wave of other artists that to this day are carrying the flag. If you want to talk about Kendrick's influence from DRAKO is quite palpable on every single song from the GNX project, including his diss track against Drake that led up to it, Not Like Us, where he uses entire cadences used by DRAKO in previous songs, uses the same phrasing and verbiage. There's so many to point to. There's like 15 examples throughout that verse alone. You got to give it up for the ruler. So that's my thoughts. I want to know yours. Let me know who you think is the most influential and impactful artist. Who has had the biggest impact on West Coast rap between these names or anybody in general? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is Lush Uno. Much love. We out.